Hey, how are you guys? Well, interesting news. I'm still in Boca, right? But that's okay. I told you I was going to be filming this part of the video today. It's still Thursday, just like the other video was Thursday. So, yeah, back. So, as a review, recap, I'm going on a trip. I'm on the trip. In fact, by the time you watch this, I will have almost be finished. I will be, if you guys are watching this, say, at noonish on Monday, I will have crossed the Utah line from Colorado into Utah, and I'll be just north of Moab. And if you guys have ever been to southern Utah, Moab is awesome. I highly recommend it. Anyway, so notes. WebEx. I will be on WebEx on Tuesday, not Discord on Tuesday. I will send everybody a mass email so you'll be able to watch it and say, oh, there it is. I'll be able to get into Discord and have a Q&A with Aaron. And then we will have I'll have WebEx Q&A sessions available on Wednesday. And then there is a required class that all of you are required to be at on Friday. And so make sure that you are there. I have already attended some classes through WebEx. I'm sure many of you have. It's not horrible. It's not the best, but it's not horrible. And then, so that's what's going on there. I will be having, so, and then also Discord on Wednesdays when I'll have office hours on Discord. Again, you guys can contact me through Discord. So basically what that means, I'll be sitting at my desk in Orem, Utah, in my nice comfy chair that I left in Utah and didn't bring to Florida. And I'll be taking your questions. All right. So that's that. And so what this has to do with is the option to have a pass-fail grade for English 1102. And here, during the video, you'll see a copy of the email I received. So here's the first email. It's from the school. It talks about the option for a pass-fail grade where you, the student, can request from me, your teacher, a pass-fail grade. So there's that. There are some caveats that are attached to it, and hopefully you guys have received a similar email. Then here is the email that comes from Dr. Barrios, the guy who right now is overseeing the writing program here at FAU. And where he describes that because of Florida state law regarding something called the Gordon Rule, how grading works in the state. So I've discussed the Gordon. I know I've mentioned the Gordon Rule before, probably on the first or second day of class. I know in the first semester we discussed it more often. So those of you who had me last semester are familiar with this as well. With the Gordon Rule, there is a grading criteria set up by the legislature of the state of Florida. They are in control of this, and only they can cancel it. This is according to Dr. Barrios. So basically, you cannot request a pass or fail situation. Okay, so basically the grades are, if you get below a C, so a 73.99% or below, is a failing grade according to the Gordon Rule established by the state of Florida. A 74%, just 74.00% is a passing grade according to the state of Florida. And then you have all the different gradations all the way through. Now, that's the Gordon Rule, okay? And you have to have a certain number of words that you have typed according to the Gordon Rule, and they have to have comments on at least a quarter of them. So I've already beat that one. So technically, I don't have to add any more comments to your papers. I can just put a grade on it. But I'm not doing that. I'm still adding some line notes. So what that means is I still have to give you a letter grade. In that letter grade portion, though, this is where it can become interesting. Now, so I talked with you guys before about a writing philosopher. He's a philosopher who specializes in composition, particularly first-year composition, and they've done a lot of research. He's very, very influential. The guy's name is Peter Elbow. And Dr. Elbow, who taught at Harvard, had a system set up where his students and he had a contract that they would establish, where if you did a certain number of things in the class, then you would receive a C. You could automatically just say, if I do this, A, B, C, D, I get a C. No questions asked. I just get the C. Okay? And then the other part of the contract is, if I do ... I get an A. That was Dr. Elbow's system. I don't know the precise details of the contract because we weren't allowed to deploy that system as a group because of the Gordon rule. However, basically the students who, in my opinion, who are failing this class, who are in that 73 and below, are basically students who stopped showing up to class or being interested in class, before spring break. Now, there are a couple of you who are not in that situation, who are right on the edge, who are close, or they're just a couple of things that you have to do and you'll be passing. A couple of you guys completely panicked over the third essay. You just couldn't figure out the angles to do it, and so you just gave up and didn't write the paper. Okay. So I was waiting for a couple of you guys to actually get on Discord so we could talk about that. But those of you who are in that category kind of panicked and didn't do it. So, for those of you who are in that category, you know who you are, and I know who you are. Send me something. I don't care. Just send me something. All right. For those of you who are in the 74%, barely on the edge, hanging on by the grit of your teeth, and so I'm saying anybody who's getting between a 72% and an 80%. Now, there are not many of you guys. All you have to do then is keep working. Keep turning shit in, and you're going to pass the class. That's how it works. I don't want anyone to fail. I want everybody to get A's. And I told you that from the very beginning. Some of you guys didn't trust me, so you didn't turn everything in, or some of you weren't paying attention. What's happened to probably 6 or 7 of you guys, and it's all guys, it's all men who've been doing this. You're not paying attention. I tell you to do something, and either you're doing the opposite, or you're just doing it wrong, and it's like you're right in front of me, and some of you guys I've looked right in the eye when I tell you to do it in class, and you guys don't do it. And I'm just like, what the fuck, so fine, you're getting a C because of that kind of bullshit behavior. And that's all the men, all the males in this class who are in the C range, and I think it's only men who are in the C range. There might be one woman. All the men who are in the C range, that's what it is. You guys are just not effing paying attention. even in the quiz that I posted for Wednesday last week regarding the emails, some of you guys obviously didn't watch the effing video for it because you failed the questions regarding it. What the hell? It's where you want to bang your head on the wall and say, I don't know how I could have made it any easier, but you guys aren't paying attention. Whatever. It's up to you. Pay attention. But if you want to get the C at least, just get a C in this class, turn in the revision and turn in the final. I'll have more details on that Friday where we all meet together, and I can guarantee you'll get a C in the class, if that's all you want. For those of you who want the A in the class, we'll have the details in that class coming up on Friday. So the trick is how to write a good conclusion. You guys have asked, Aaron, and well, I'm not going to hyperventilate about how you guys, because you guys have been fair. You've asked, I've promised, and I've given you a couple of hints so far, some things that'll help. One is please use pathos. So this is where you want to use strong emotional language when you are writing. You do want a little bit of ethos, though, in here to re-support your argument and your credibility. So, do you remember the mapping section? Okay. In the mapping section, you are basically predicting what you will be doing in this paper. Well, in the conclusion, like your second sentence, map backwards, essentially. Say, so we've discussed, or like in this paper I have shown, or don't say I have shown, that's ridiculous, but say something along the lines, hey, in this paper, I've written about the effects of, and you go through, or I've written about this, and you basically write a 1 or 2 sentence summary of what your paper did. Then you essentially reword your thesis. State it again, just reword it, okay? And then you say, because of all the work that I have done, and because of this that's in my thesis, this is what it all means. And so essentially your fourth sentence is a what it all means and what the F statement. It's kind of like your stakes all over again. Why it's important and what it all means. So like in my paper where I'm dealing with the lynching of a guy named Joe Christmas, who's a black man who is passing. And it's it's a ridiculous story. Every which way you go, it's just an absolute tragedy. And so I'm dealing with the lynching of Joe Christmas by the white power structure in the state of Mississippi during the Great Depression era. And I'm going to be exposing what happened in my paper, how it is the great sin, how lynching that's the story. There's a lot more. Like I said, it's a long novel and it is really good. It's difficult. It's a difficult text, but it's really good. Faulkner won the Nobel for literature. So he's a brilliant writer. Anyway, so we want to discuss so you have to show the stakes of why this is all important. You have to do the same thing in your story, in your conclusion. Now, here's some things that you'd never do. Do not bring in new information in your conclusion. Don't do it. Next, do not include a quote from your primary text or research text in your conclusion. The time for research materials is over. The last place you did research was in the reprehensio. Your time is done. You do not need any more researched materials. Also, what does not go in your conclusion is stuff that you cannot prove you with the evidence in, the story. So in the story, Faulkner's story, there's lots and lots of other stuff that's going on. I can't include any of that stuff. I can only include what is in Faulkner's story. Okay? Has to be tight. Can't screw around. Can't play around. Can't include any stuff, because I essentially only have, 7 to 9 sentences to do things. And so first sentence is a topic sentence, that, and it is, because you're writing a paragraph, you have to have a topic sentence. Okay? Then I have to have a context sentence. The context sentence is where I'm retelling what I did in the paper. The third sentence is the beginning of evidence, which is to restate the thesis, reword the thesis. The fourth step is to redo your stakes, reveal why this is important, and then your last step, your fifth step, is not only why this is important, why you're writing about it, but why we have to have further research into this area, why this needs to be examined further. Okay? So, that is the purpose of the conclusion. So, no new stuff, nothing that you couldn't establish in your paper, no quotes, no new research, none of that crap. Okay? It's not a hard thing to write, except it turns out it is a hard thing to write. You have to really get into it. So, but it takes practice. Now, you guys so far have written, by the time you've written this paper, you will have written 3 other conclusions. This is a great chance to practice your conclusion again, because the conclusion that really matters is in the final paper. Okay? So, the next step that you have to do in this, after you have your conclusion all done and wrapped up, is then go backwards and look at all your topic sentences and transition sentences and your keywords to make sure that everything, all your paragraphs are logical and in the right order according to what's in the conclusion and according to what's in the divisio and your introduction. Order everything properly and then start rewriting your transitions and your topic sentences so that everything slides together as smooth as possible. Work for logic. Make sure it works orderly. So if you want to rearrange your paragraphs, rearrange your paragraphs. If you need a new paragraph, put in a new paragraph. Do all the stuff that you're supposed to do. Don't F around, don't fart around. Rearrange everything. So, how many paragraphs do you need of support things? I told you have to have more paragraphs of support than you have of everything else. Okay, so I'm going to cut you a little slack. I'm going to allow you to include your counter argument with your support paragraphs. Okay, so I'm going to let you do it, but normally you shouldn't. Okay, so you have 1 paragraph of introduction, 2 paragraphs of narration, okay, 1 paragraph of divisio, and your conclusion. That's 5 paragraphs. Okay, you need to have 5 to 6 support paragraphs and one counter argument paragraph. Okay, that's the balance. Do you see what I'm doing? Okay, that's how your paper is bulked up and ready to go. So, hopefully that's enough information about conclusions. We have more time to learn about conclusions. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. So, there we go. I'm back home. I went to Walmart, bought a bunch of important stuff. I'm going to go home, edit this video. It will be up for you on Monday morning and maybe Sunday about midnight-ish. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope you did. Please stay safe. Please stay safe.